It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day and welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller, and we're very happy to welcome into studio today Zack Garcia is a library specialist with the Camp Verde Community Library. Did I get that right so far?
You got it right.
So far, so good. All right. Well, Zack, thanks for taking some time and coming in on, I'm sure, a busy day for you because there's a lot of things happening at the Camp Verde Community Library like there are in our libraries across Yavapai County and indeed the Southwest and everywhere. Libraries have really changed. And you and I were chatting before we opened the microphones a little bit about that, and we'll get into that on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something big coming up, though, pretty quickly here. June 14th, the Smithsonian exhibit is coming, and that's exciting. Can we kind of start there and tell me what that's about?
So the name of the exhibit is Spark Places of Innovation. So it is a Smithsonian traveling exhibit. Mm-hmm. It is part of a series called Museums on Main Street. This is the third one that Camp Verde Community Library has hosted. The previous two was, it was called something Waterways. I can't remember the full title. Okay. But the most recent one right before this was Voices and Votes. Unfortunately, we had that right at the onset of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So towards the tail end of our time with that exhibit, we kind of had to shut down a little bit early. Yeah. But we're really excited to have this one. It is a collaboration with the Smithsonian and Arizona Humanities. They're who's kind of facilitating this whole thing. And it's a traveling exhibit. It goes all across the country. And we are the first stop in Arizona, which is really cool. So we're a little less than a month away from the grand opening. The exhibit is really exciting. So it's called Spark Places of Innovation, and it is a collection of stories of communities all over the country that had a very specific problem, and then they innovated a solution. And in some cases, those innovations become part of everyday life all across the world. So it's a very cool a concept. The exhibit is physically pretty large. It's going to take up most of our first floor. So the 2 days before the opening, no, 1 day before the opening, we're actually closing the library
to get it all
to install it.
Put together.
Because, it's going to be a pretty big to do. But then the second half of that is every host location has to have a companion exhibit. So something local that is an example of local innovation. Okay. So we had to, kind of do some brainstorming and reach out, and we had a couple ideas. One of the early ideas that we thought about was approaching Sinawa Malt, just because they're huge into water conservation and how they produce malt, and we've done stuff with them before. But the drawback there was, unless you're a bread maker or a beer maker or a beer drinker, we thought that for our target demographic, namely families, it wouldn't be super interesting, especially for the younger age. Yeah. So who we ended up partnering with is Lori Altringer and the Science Vortex here in Cottonwood. So we have a long-running collaboration with them. They're wonderful to work with. Lori's wonderful to work with. But the Science Vortex, what came to I was actually at an event at the Vortex, part of the Verde Valley SciTech Festival. Okay. It was the kickoff for that in February. And they had this thing in the corner of the room, which actually is going to be part of our exhibit. It's a transmission out of a vehicle that is cut in half. It is a cross-section so that you can actually see how a transmission works. Right. And I thought that was so cool. It's just a neat thing and something that
everyday thing.
Well, every day, it's in our vehicles, absolutely, but it's also not something that you really think about. You just get in the car and go. Yeah. And I thought, how cool is it to see, and engines usually kind of take the limelight when it comes to car stuff. But but the humble transmission is responsible for, just as responsible for getting you down the road. So I thought that was a really cool thing. So when we started brainstorming about like who could we partner with, that was really fresh in my mind at the time. And I approached Lori about it, and she said, "Yeah, absolutely, let's do it." So they are going to we're going to have a handful of pieces from the Science Vortex on site at the at our library at Camp Verde Community Library, and then also we created a series of posters. Really nice posters that are going to kind of tell the story of the Science Vortex, how it came to be, what its mission is, what its current programs and stuff, but then also like what its goals for the future are. And I think I put the cart before the horse. So the Science Vortex, for those that are not aware, it's here in Cottonwood, and it is a informal science STEM. So the acronym is STEM. So science, technology, engineering, math, and arts. Sometimes it's STEM, sometimes it's STEAM, but it's all that kind of programming for kids in a fun, accessible way. It's turning kids into scientists and engineers.
We're hearing an awful lot about that. I know I live in Clarkdale, and we talked with the mayor about the Clarkdale Park, the new, the refurbished park that they're doing, and it's got an entire STEAM element to it. Yeah. And so here we go again. Now here you are with the Camp Verde Library putting this local element to be part of this bigger project with Smithsonian. Yeah. So certainly there's an obvious push. Badly needed. I think most of us would agree to encourage young people, particularly, to move into the sciences, technologies, and all that's the future, isn't it?
And it was so common, like when I was in school, and probably when you were in school, and still probably today. Well, not STEM, but like I don't like math, or I don't like science, or I can't. Right. And it's like, no, you can. Yeah. It's how is it being presented to you? Right. And that's what's in my opinion, really innovative about the Science Vortex and other, places like that, is they're making it accessible and fun for kids. And being, oh, by the way, that's STEM. You're doing science. You're doing math. You're doing X, Y, and Z. Right. So it's really cool, and I'm really, really happy to have the Science Vortex on board for the Spark.
That's awesome.
Exhibit. Yeah.
Now let me go back. I want to revisit a piece of that. Now that's that local component. It sounds like was a stipulation of the Smithsonian people. Yes. And bringing their thing. That's cool. Yeah. But there you talked about how communities across the country have been involved, face some kind of problem or dilemma. Are you talking like a civil kind of problem? Are you talking like a natural disaster and how communities met that challenge, or more? Okay,
all of the above. Okay. All of the above.
Well, that sounds really compelling to me.
Yeah, the innovation part of it was very open-ended. I'm trying to think of some examples that we saw from there. There was a whole media video on some of the different locations of previous places, and like how the exhibit came to be. Right. One place there was like a ton of flooding that happened that was unexpected, and then how they dealt with that. Another place established, it actually might have been the same place, established a, what do they call it? It was a community college, quote unquote, but not the way we think of community college. It was more about like just like sharing of information and skill. So it was much more informal, but kind of like what libraries are offering, to be honest. Right. So that was a cool thing. I'm trying to think of some of the other examples.
No, it's interesting. I get what you're talking about. This sounds fascinating. This is a traveling exhibit. It's going to pop up on other places, but here first. First Arizona appearance is going to be at the Camp Verde Community Library. That's really cool. You think about it this way. There's a street with 5 houses. There's 5 families in each of those houses. They share a neighborhood and a community, but each family is different. Yes. And each family member is different. Yes. And so it goes to stand that even we have very different communities right here in northern Arizona, in the Verde Valley. We're very similar and very connected, but each one is different and will handle problems differently. And this Smithsonian exhibition is going to show us exactly how different, based on geography, geology, water, no water, people. That's really cool.
Yeah. And also it kind of echoes libraries in general.
Yeah.
So I've been
Good point.
I've been a librarian now for 8 years, and the biggest takeaway that I've had is that libraries are not one size fits all.
Right.
Like the kind of mission statement is,
I'm gonna stop you there
Sure.
because that's exactly where we're late for a break here, so let's do that. But that's what I want to talk about next. It ain't your grandpa's library, and I know now because I'm a grandpa, and it's different than it used to be, and I think way, way, way for the better. Zack Garcia is our guest today, library specialist with the Camp Verde Community Library. We'll talk about services. We'll talk about how different libraries are, even in the last 10, 20, or more years. It's countywide. We're back right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Thank you so very much for your generosity and kindness in helping others. I hope that you take advantage of the many Arizona state tax credits available when giving to qualified charities and schools. If you haven't taken advantage, I hope you'll ask your favorite charity if they qualify. You can go to Arizona Department of Revenue website, search for tax credits, and look at the list of qualifying charities. Then look at your latest Arizona income tax return and see how an Arizona tax credit can benefit many. This is Lewis saying thanks again.
Spring is here, and it's the perfect time for a fresh start. Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, is ready to help you simplify and protect what matters most: your home, your car, your life, and your future. Jonna offers competitive pricing with a relationship-first approach that puts you at the center of every decision. Call Jonna Randall Murdoch today at 928-649-8686, located on Villa Drive in Cottonwood. Farm Bureau Financial Services. It's your future. Let's protect it.
Welcome back to the program. Brad Miller with you. Zack Garcia is our guest today, Camp Verde Community Library. Again, that Smithsonian exhibit is coming on June 14th. We'll mention it again before we wrap up today. But you started on a great point before I interrupted you, Zack, and that is, it ain't your grandpa's library. Mm-hmm. Things are so much different. Just quick, I took a look at the Camp Verde, at the website through the town, and there are ESL classes. There are preschool story time. Teen game night, grief support meetings. All of these things happen at the Camp Verde Library, and that's 4 out of dozens and probably hundreds of different kinds of things that happen. If it's been so long since you've been in a library, you think, well, I go check out a book or read the newspaper. Yes, you can still do that, but it's just a whole different thing. It really is a community space now.
Yeah,
and I think most local libraries are very similar.
So ours in particular, the Camp Verde Community Library, is kind of the de facto community center of Camp Verde.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, like a lot of other places will have, so like Cottonwood, for example, has a rec center. And like that's wonderful, but it's different than what the library does. And the Cottonwood Library is great too. But also, like I had said before, libraries are not one size fits all. Libraries are molded and shaped by their communities, and also the librarians that are working there. You know, we all bring something to the table as well. But yeah, there's so much going on in the library. So like an anecdote. So when I was in college, my degree is in photography, and I worked with two folks who were going for their library science degree. And at the time, I was like, why would you want to do that? Yeah. Because the library I grew up with, it was the stereotypical, little old lady with hair in a bun, glasses, the kind of like stereotype of what a library is, right? And they are so much different. They're so much more than that. Like, we have concerts in our library.
Right.
Every Monday night is open mic night. On the second and fourth Thursday, I think we have Music in the Stacks, which is like an actual concert. We close the doors and arrange seats like amphitheater style, and we have a concert in the library. One of the things that I really enjoy is that if we don't have a program that somebody is looking for, we'll do our best to make it happen. A lot of times we'll need your help. So like an example, we had a kid come to us who asked if we had a chess club, and we said, no, we don't. We did pre-pandemic, but then it just kind of fell apart and never was reestablished. And he said, can I start one? And we said, yeah,
sure.
If you're gonna take the reins and run it, we'll put you on the calendar. And it was wonderful while it lasted. He ended up, going away to college, and that was fine.
Kids grow up.
They do, but just that kind of like ability to like offer program, like we don't have it, somebody wants it, let's do what we can to make it happen. One that I'm super proud of and really love a lot is we started a Warhammer club. So it's the Verde Valley Warhammer Club. I had wanted to get Warhammer into the library for a really long time. Warhammer is expensive. For those of you who don't know, it's tabletop wargaming. It's little plastic soldiers you build and paint and then have battles. But it can be prohibitively expensive. I had mentioned it, and a friend said, oh, I'm into Warhammer. Let me come volunteer and help you do it. So we started it during my team game night, and then from there, we established an all-ages club, and it's kind of been going since. So we have two different meetings, the second and fourth Saturday. The first one is all about gameplay, and then the second one is all about the hobby side of it, so the building and the painting and the crafting, and it's been wonderful. And that just came because like there was interest in it.
Right.
And there's been a bunch of, like, we have a photography club and a stamp club that meet at the library.
Yeah. And they just kind of sprout up organically.
Very.
Based on maybe even just one single individual's thought or demand or inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
And there goes, and that's kind of how things ought to work.
Yes.
I've got an idea. Okay, well, you take the reins on it and bang, we'll get this done. And then it grows, and who knows how many lives you can touch.
Yes.
And every bit of it's free.
Every bit of it is free. One of my favorite, I can't remember who said it first. It's been floating around on the internet forever, but libraries are one of the last places that you can exist without the expectation of spending money. And it's true. With very little exception, libraries are free. If you don't have a library card, come and get one. It's free. The only time that you're ever going to have to spend money is if you damage something irreparably and we have to replace it. Or we also have a friends group that has a book sale. So we have right in the library. But all of that money that from those book sales it's funneled back into the library for new books and new programs and new stuff that we might find ourselves in need of. But yeah, all of our programs, checking things out, it's all free. We're also a part of the Yavapai Library Network.
Yeah.
So
that's a heck of a service.
Yeah, it's countywide. There's something like 50 different libraries that are a part of it. So the cool thing is, like, if we don't have something on the shelf and you want it, we can probably get it either from another library, or if it's popular enough, like, we'll just purchase it and add it to our collection.
I found this little blurb on the Camp Verde library website that you have about 30,000 books, a smaller collection, audiobooks, magazines, DVDs, and so on. But through the network, we've got access to about 1 million titles, roughly. Yeah. And I use that all the time. I've never been to the Camp Verde Library, but I've read books that are on your shelf.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of that. And then you pick it up at your local library. That's a tremendous service, one of just many. You kind of mentioned community spaces and internet access. I know for maybe lower income folks or other folks who have trouble with just getting a good connection.
Not just that, for anybody. So where we are geographically, we're kind of at the intersection, not actually, but pretty close to 260 and I-17.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of travelers, folks that are either literally just passing through, or we get a lot of permanent RVers that stay in the area. And a lot of times those folks just need internet access to check their email or pay a bill or apply for whatever. And we have that, and the internet access is free. You can connect with your own device. We also have many computers that are there for the public to use, our PCs. If you need to print something, that's super common. Somebody coming in, I just need to get this printed real quick because nobody has printers at home anymore. We offer that. Printing is a fee. We do charge for that. But again, we're not making money on it. We're just like maintaining,
covering expense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's available. Our Wi-Fi is some of the best in the town. It reaches all the way out to the neighboring park, Horizontal Park, so you can sit out at the Ramada and be on the internet if you need to or want to. Internet.
I know. It's just, again, just one of the few services you can kind of tick off that are there. We could sit here all day and kind of go through those. The digital library, just to give you beyond even the network. So absolutely extraordinary what modern day libraries will do, and one of the most modern and one of the newer ones in our area is the Camp Verde.
The library itself, like as an entity, has been around for a really long time. I think don't quote me, but I think it was established in the 70s. But physically, this building is relatively new. So we were built in, we opened in 2016. I actually wasn't a librarian when it opened, but the following January I was. So I hired into this building, and it's beautiful and wonderful, and we love it. And if you haven't been, absolutely come and stop by.
Wonderful. We'll take a short break. We'll come back, wrap it up with Zack Garcia, Camp Verde Community Library. It's countywide. We're back after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Thank you so very much for your generosity and kindness in helping others. I hope that you take advantage of the many Arizona state tax credits available when giving to qualified charities and schools. If you haven't taken advantage, I hope you'll ask your favorite charity if they qualify. You can go to Arizona Department of Revenue website, search for tax credits, and look at the list of qualifying charities. Then look at your latest Arizona income tax return and see how an Arizona tax credit can benefit many. This is Lewis saying thanks again.
Spring is here, and it's the perfect time for a fresh start. Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, is ready to help you simplify and protect what matters most: your home, your car, your life, and your future. Jonna offers competitive pricing with a relationship-first approach that puts you at the center of every decision. Call Jonna Randall Murdoch today at 928-649-8686, located on Villa Drive in Cottonwood. Farm Bureau Financial Services. It's your future. Let's protect it.
Welcome back to the program as we wrap it up. Zack Garcia, library specialist, Camp Verde Community Library in the heart of Camp Verde, 928-554-8390. Phone number from the website. And that Smithsonian exhibit begins on June 14th. How long did that run?
It runs through, it's 6-ish weeks, just about 6 weeks.
Okay.
It runs through, for us, July 26th.
Okay.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Yep.
All right. Anything else we want to leave our listeners with? I just Googled you. Is there a website specifically?
So
or
Googling it is the easiest way to get to it, or going to the town's website.
Right.
So it's campverde.az.gov. It's kind of wrong, but if you Google it, it'll come up. That's usually the easiest way to get there.
That's how I found it.
From there, you can see our hours. You can go to the events calendar and see when things are happening, what is happening. It's filterable by age group. So you can look for stuff for your kids to do, or if you're an adult that's looking for something to get involved with.
Or if you're looking for ideas of something to do, if you've got some free time or whatever.
Also, if you do have free time, come volunteer. We wouldn't exist without our volunteers.
Right.
We really, really heavily rely on volunteers. It's a great place to volunteer. We've got, all ages. We've got teens that are volunteer and getting credit for school. And then we've got, retirees that are just looking to, give back to the community. And we really appreciate our volunteers.
Wonderful. All right. Terrific. Camp Verde Community Library, our guest, Zack Garcia. I'm Brad Miller. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.